All right, let's dive in. Think about the last time you booked an Uber or maybe bought something from Microsoft. It's just one tap, right? And everything just works. Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on the invisible FinTech engine that makes all that magic happen. It's a company you've almost definitely used, but I bet you've probably never even heard of.
And that company is Adyen. You're not going to see their logo on a checkout page. But if you've ever paid for an Uber, bought something on eBay, or used services from Microsoft or Meta, well then, you've used Adyen. They are the absolute powerhouse operating completely behind the scenes. It feels so simple for us, doesn't it? You tap a button, a car shows up. You click, a package arrives. But that simplicity? It's kind of an illusion. Have you ever wondered why the actual plumbing behind online payments is one of the most ridiculously complicated systems in the world? Well, that complexity is the very problem Adyen was built to solve. But to really appreciate what they built, you first have to understand the old world of global payments. And trust me, it was a massive, tangled-up patchwork of different systems. Yeah, just look at this web. This is the old way of doing things. Imagine you're a big global company trying to accept payments. You needed one service called a gateway just to capture the payment info. Then you needed a separate processor to send that data securely. And then you needed a different acquiring bank in every single country to actually talk to Visa or MasterCard. It was a complete nightmare of integrations and fees. And every time one of those links broke, that's a failed payment and a lost sale. So what was Adyen's big idea? It was actually pretty radical. Instead of trying to stitch that old, messy patchwork together, they just built something totally new, right from the ground up. A single, unified platform that was designed to handle everything. And this quote, right from their own documents, it just says it all. Their whole mission is to provide end-to-end payment capabilities, data, and financial products in a single solution. What does that really mean? It means they take all that insane global complexity and just hide it behind one simple connection for their customers. Now, this did not happen overnight. No way. They built this platform piece by piece, very deliberately. They were founded back in 2006. Then, in 2012, they added in-person payments and, this is key, got their own acquiring license, which let them cut out a huge middleman. By 2016, they were powering huge marketplaces, and by 2019, they could even issue their own cards. This was a long, methodical game to own the entire payment stack.
Okay, so we get the why and the what. Now let's get into the fun stuff, the how. Let's look at the business and the tech engine that makes this all possible. So, how do they make money? It's pretty straightforward, really. For every single transaction, they take a small, fixed processing fee. On top of that, they add a variable fee that depends on the payment method. A Visa is different from a local bank transfer. But here's the kicker. The third layer is where their real power is, selling these high-margin add-on tools for things like risk and optimization. And their business strategy is key to understanding them. Adyen isn't interested in your local coffee shop. They hunt for the giants, the huge global enterprise companies. Their model is what they call land and expand. They get in the door by handling a client's online payments, and then they expand into their physical stores, into new countries, and they start selling them all those valuable add-ons. The goal is to become so deeply integrated that they're absolutely indispensable. Okay, now for what might be their most radical choice, technically speaking. Unlike pretty much everyone else, Adyen does not use public clouds like Amazon Web Services for its core payment processing. They own and they manage their own servers in data centers all over the world. Why would they do that? Well, in payments, every millisecond counts. Owning the hardware gives them incredible speed and reliability, and most importantly, it gives them direct access to all the raw transaction data. And that data, that fuels their biggest advantage. You see, that unique infrastructure is what allows them to operate at a truly unbelievable scale. And when you process that massive volume of transactions, you generate an ocean of data. And that ocean of data is the fuel for their true secret weapon, artificial intelligence. To really get a sense of their data advantage, you have to understand the scale. So in 2023 alone, Adyen processed, get this, nearly 1 trillion euros. But you know what's crazy? That was just 2023. They're growing so fast that here in 2024, they are on track to blow right past the 1 trillion euro mark. That is a staggering amount of the world's commerce, all flowing through their one platform. And who's driving all that incredible volume? Well, it's the biggest digital brands on the entire planet. We're talking Uber, eBay, Meta, Microsoft. These companies don't just use Adyen, they literally rely on its FinTech platform to handle millions and millions of transactions every single day, safely and efficiently.
So what do you do with all the data from over €1 trillion in transactions? You build a ridiculously powerful AI. And this is their secret sauce, Adyen Uplift. It's an AI-powered suite of tools that analyzes all that data from their entire network to make every single payment just a little bit smarter. And this is the core difference right here. Old systems, they use scattered data and dumb static rules like, oh, always decline a transaction from this country. But Adyen Uplift sees everything. It uses AI to spot these super subtle patterns across its whole network. It might see that a specific bank is having some temporary issues and intelligently reroute a payment to give it a better chance of success. The result? They claim it can boost successful payments by up to 6%. Now, for a company the size of Microsoft, that's not just millions. We're talking about potentially billions in recovered revenue. So, what does all of this mean for the future of how we pay for things?
Okay, so here's the key takeaway, the one thing to remember. Adyen's genius was in replacing that messy, awful payment patchwork with one single intelligent platform. They basically absorb all the complexity of global commerce, and then they use their incredible scale and their powerful AI to optimize it for the biggest companies on Earth.
And this all leads to a final, really fascinating question. We don't really check out anymore. We just tap a button. Payments are dissolving into the background, becoming more and more invisible every day. So as that continues to happen, will a company like Adyen become the true unseen backbone of the entire digital economy? It's something to think about the next time you tap to pay. Thanks for tuning in.